Hi, welcome to another episode of Ruiz Mechanic. Today we're going to be doing an install of a K&N filter into a 2006 Nissan 350Z. Should be pretty straightforward. The part is a 576013 and it fits all models from 2003 to 2006. I'd like to thank the folks at Onyx Enterprises from New Jersey getting this product out here in time for Christmas, and K&N Filter for another great product. Again, thanks to K&N and Onyx Enterprises. This is another episode of Ruiz Mechanic. K&N gives us a lot of parts. First thing we want to do is take them out of the box and make sure we have everything. Looks pretty clean, pretty straightforward. The next step will be disconnecting the battery terminal cables, just so we don't have any problem with electronics. Again, thanks to K&N and Onyx Enterprises. This is another episode of Ruiz Mechanic. What we're going to do is we're going to do a before and after of the sound of the standard exhaust, of the standard intake. Okay, next we're going to do the exhaust. K&N gives us a lot of parts. First thing we want to do is take them out of the box and make sure we have everything. Looks pretty clean, pretty straightforward. The next step will be disconnecting the battery terminal cables, just so we don't have any problem with electronics. First step we want to do is take off the positive posts. Step two is taking off the mass air electrical connection. So you just do that by depressing it and it should pop right back out.
It's right out.
Pop right out.
There we go.
There we go. The next step is removing the mounting bolt from the stock tube to the intake manifold. Should be the same socket, so we're lucky here we don't have to keep changing out sockets. Next step is removing the clamps from the tube to the intake and the throttle body. Again, it's the same size socket. Once it lifts out, you have to remove the other clamp connecting the hose at the base of the tube. It's just a pair of pliers, so you just squeeze it, move it up and down, loosen it up, and it should slide right out.
Slide right out.
Next step is removing the airbox mounting bolts. Again, it's the same socket. Makes it a lot easier. Don't lose the screws down into the vehicle. Make sure you put them someplace that they're secure. Not the best place, but that works. Should just lift right out. It's sitting in a grommet down on the bottom, so you should be able to pull straight up and out.
It feels like it's on some of this stuff.
There we go.
Wow, okay.
And it just comes straight out, lift in one piece. It might be easier next time if we take the filter case off on the front, just to give you a little bit more room. It just comes off with these two clamps, and then this part comes out. Give you a little bit more room to work. Make sure you disconnect the wires that are connected or holding on to the airbox before you try to pull the airbox out. This part isn't in the book, but the new box actually rests, the bottom part rests on the air conditioning hose. So to prevent the abrasion and from eventually breaking through the hose, we cut another piece of hose, and we're sleeving the air conditioning hose here and attaching it with a couple of zip ties so it doesn't come off. This is just to prevent a little bit of, just to prevent the abrasion that will occur, and hopefully we won't have any problems. We'll check it periodically and see how it's working out and make sure it's still there. The next step is taking out the new box and installing the rubber gasket, basically, that goes all the way around the top edge of the of the new air box.
They gave us like an inch too.
So next we have to take the air sensor, mass air sensor off the old air box, making sure not to lose the screws. Again, it's the same socket, same size, so that makes it easier. At this point too, you may want to check the inside, make sure there's like no extra dust in there. It looks pretty clean. Okay, once you remove the sensor, the housing from the old air box, next is remove these two screws,
Which is a hex screw.
and slide the sensor out. We'll be reinstalling that, but in order to slide this new piece into the new sleeve, we have to remove this part first and then reattach it. On the mass air sensor electronic part, notice that the screws are security screws. They're not just hex, but they have the dot in the middle, so that may make it a little tough. We were able to get it off with a couple of pair of pliers and some elbow grease, so good luck on that one. Alright, the next step would be installing the sensor with the screws to the inside, mounting, there you go, to the inside, slides through, all the way through, and then the sensor,
Slight angle.
well, probably just straight up, it's fine.
No.
It'll match up with the screw holes, yeah. There you go. And then reinsert the sensor, the electronic sensor mounting, and the screws. Then reinsert the mounting screws into the new unit along with the new air intake ring. You want to hand thread them first. Make sure you have everything lined up before you tighten it up.
I actually can't hold this and do it.
Next, using the hardware provided, we're putting together the saddle clamp with its bracket. Again, we're going to need an Allen head, an Allen wrench to hold that screw provided. And then it'll go in the existing hole where the other clamp was.
One. Let's go back. It's number 7. I like how all these are numbered.
Next, we provide the grommet as provided into the K&N tube as shown. It still slip right in. You can use some little soap or a little lubricant or just some spit to get that thing in there. It should fit right in.
Grommet.
Next, after the grommet's installed, we install the 90-degree tubing adapter.
Mother.
Without pushing the grommet. Next, we're going to install one of the two silicone pieces, one over the throttle body and then one over the new box. So install the throttle body one first with a couple of clamps that provided. And make sure you got the clamp securely over the metal of the throttle body of the intake there. So it'll make a good seal. Next, you want to prepare the hose and the clamp that you took off of the old intake tube to the new fitting underneath the new intake tube. So as he gets the clamp ready, you'll position the new intake there and then easily slide the clamp over the edge, making a secure fit.
Let's pull it here. Let's get in there solid. There we go. Let's twist it a little bit. Perfect. Oh wow, that's really in there now. Cool.
Before you tighten up the screws on the saddle bracket here, make sure everything lines up and you have it at a good angle. We're going to make sure that we're going to dry fit everything here first before we tighten up this one and this one and this one, just to make sure everything's fitting right. Next, we'll install the second silicone piece provided over the bottom part of the intake tube, and then tighten them up with the clamp provided. You want to make sure that these are secure so no air leaks. You'll feel it when it's good and it's got a good seal. You'll feel a little ridge right here with your thumb as the clamp hits the hose. And next you install a filter in the new box. And you
clamp side up.
Clamp side up so you can easily clamp it on and off. Next we go ahead and install the box. Should slide into the tube first. Just got to get an angle on it. And this should slide right. At this point, remember to tighten up all the rest of your clamps. And once you have it seated where you want it, go ahead and tighten up your clamps, and then the last thing we'll do is we'll put the fitting, the sensor fitting back in.
I'm gonna do this one though.
Don't forget to install the negative battery cable to the negative battery post, and it's going to put the stickers on here for the emissions. You want to make sure that sticker's on there, and it should actually be probably someplace that's metal because the plastic has the coating on it.
I don't want to put it on the car though. Like what if I want to take it off at some point? There, I like that.
That way it can be seen by your emissions expert when they go to smog it. No, you just didn't get the parts from Home Depot. All right. You should check your filter every 100,000 miles. Clean it. If you're in a dusty area, you're going to do that a little bit more often. So we'll go ahead and start it in neutral, and we'll let it idle for a minute. You want to check for any noises, anything loose. I don't hear any air coming through at all. Looks pretty good. So we'll go ahead and give it a couple of seems to be breathing a lot easier, and it's a guaranteed improvement on horsepower. So this is the one that's guaranteed. The other models don't necessarily guarantee, but this one, dyno tested and everything, it's guaranteed to give you more horsepower. So we're going to do the hear the exhaust as well.
300, which is 30.
Yeah. K&N they went ahead and dynoed this, and it looks like we got an increase of about 10% from 206.75 foot-pounds to 217. So that's significant. With a half an hour worth of work, a couple $100, an easy fit. Thanks to K&N again for the product. It went together great. Again, thanks to K&N and Onyx Enterprises. This is another episode of Ruiz Mechanic.